just changing how you sit. Keep rearranging one leg in front, the other leg in front. And just playing with. Good, feeling the mass of the ribs over the mass of the pelvis and the head right over ribs. The full dimension of the head over the ribs, over the pelvis. Just aware of the back of the body, the sides, the front of the body, the top, your base. Good. And for today, we're going to do some alternate nostril breathing. So taking our pointer and middle finger, pull them in towards the base of the thumb. So we have our ring and little finger together and our thumb. So we're going to use the thumb on the outside of the right nostril. I'm doing this with my right hand. And the ring and little finger on the outside of the left nostril. So I'm pretty high up, just off the bone, like the vomer. So I'm on the more cartilaginous part of the nose, and it's a very gentle touch. And mostly because we also want to be able to direct the breath through each nostril. Okay, neck nice and long. You can even take the left hand pointer into the thumb, extend the other 3 fingers. Just gently, gentle pressure on that right upper nostril. Exhale through the left nostril. And inhaling through left nostril. Close off both nostrils, and we're going to switch. Release the thumb, exhale out of the right nostril. Slow and steady, simple. Inhale through the right nostril. Close off both nostrils. And breath is diffused, body is receptive. Switch, release the left nostril, exhale. Inhale through the left side. Good, gentle pressure on both sides of that upper nose. Release the thumb, exhale through the right side. Inhale through the right side. Close off both sides. Release the left side, exhale. And then bringing your hand down and see if you can do one more round. Again, diffuse, easy, easy, graceful. Inhale through the left nostril, just with your intention. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. And exhale through the left. And relax the breath. Notice the response in your body. The softness and awakeness. Clarity. And palms together in front of the heart. Just an acknowledgement of any need, any nourishment that is needed. Just allowing that nourishment to help us be more present with ourselves and others. Stretching your legs forward. Okay, I'm just going to grab one block. I'm just going to start on my sitting bones, just slightly to the back of the sitting bones, not quite on the tailbone, but I want to stay lifted. And maybe just feeling that, extend the arms forward, and just that sense of rolling back towards the tailbone, almost over the tailbone onto the sacrum. And rolling down. We're not going to quite come all the way down, but we're going to roll up the length of the sacrum towards the top. And then roll back up. Again, you'll feel once we're off the sacrum on the tailbone, should feel a slight difference. Back of the sitting bone. One more time. Right. There's that sense of lift, and we're just changing, right? So there is that sense of really being able to follow what's happening in the body. Rolling the length of the sacrum down, right, heading towards that top of the sacrum, and then rolling back up. Then let's take a block between the hands. And so I'm going to lift my feet. It's easier to have the heels off the floor to come up. Just in an Ardha Navasana. Again, rolling down. And so as I roll down, maybe the legs extend a little as I roll onto the back of the pelvis. And then slowly come back up, lift the knees, lift the arms. Again, slowly roll back. Extend the legs as a counterbalance. And then slowly up. And then maybe reach the arms up, maybe lift the legs, and then bend, lower the arms one more time. Right, Ardha Navasana, balanced on the back of the pelvis, legs extended, and then up. Knees bent, Navasana, and maybe legs straight. And then knees to the floor. Walk to the side. Okay, so I'm just going to use the length of my mat. You can shift your mat as you need. Okay, so I'm just going to start with my legs 90-degree angle. Right, so lower leg perpendicular to the thigh. Right knee is in front of the hip, left knee is to the side of the hip. Okay. And then I'm just going to play with turning to the right. So that left hip's going to come off of the floor and turn with me. And then come back, right? Left sitting bone comes back towards the floor. Maybe it doesn't come all the way to the floor. And then turn to the right, left hip follows, lifts and follows. And then come back. One more time, turn and lift. And come back. And it feels really good. So lifting, turn to the right. And then I'm going to pause over here, and I'm just going to let my belly button turn towards the right thigh and maybe fold just for a moment over that right thigh. And then come up. Shift my focus. I'm going to bring my belly button towards my foot now and fold. And come up. And then turning my belly button towards my left thigh. And I'm just going to lean back for a moment, letting that left knee stay on the floor. Right, left thigh's internally rotating. And maybe just lift it for a moment and then lower it. And lift that left leg and lower it. Good, one more time, lift and lower. And then I'm going to bring the right forearm to the floor on the outside of that right hip. Take that left arm up to the ceiling and over. And then back up to the ceiling, just turning towards the floor, bringing that left arm towards the right elbow, maybe even a thread the needle feeling where reach that left arm under the ribs to the right. And the ribs are lifting and turning to the right. And then left arm up. And take that left arm back, a little bit of spinal extension, and then rounding as you reach that left arm under and across to the right. One more time, left arm up. Little spinal extension, especially in the upper spine. And left arm under and through to the right. And then pressing into that right hand, come back up. And then let's shift. So knees up. And over to the other side. And letting them almost resist each other. So left knee is leading, right knee is resisting. And then lift and turn to the left. Right hip's going to lift and follow. And then let that right hip come back down as you come back to neutral. Or come back to facing the right leg. And then turn away from that right leg. Right hip lifts and turns to the left. And then right hip drops. Like just feeling that movement at the upper thigh hip joint. And lift and turn to the left. And back to face the right leg. Okay, so now I'm going to turn towards that left thigh, belly button towards the thigh, hands on either side, right? The trajectory is over that left thigh. And fold. And coming up, belly button towards the left foot. And fold. And come up, and then turning the belly button towards the right thigh, which is just going to anchor that right hip and increase the internal rotation. And then I'm just going to bring my hands back. Just lean back and lift that right knee and lower and lift and lower. Right leg or left leg stays where it is and lift. Lower. Good. And then left forearm on the floor. In line with that left hip, right arm up and over. A nice side bend, reaching from the right knee to the right fingertips. A little bit of opening in that front hip. You can even move the sacrum forward towards that left leg. And then right arm up again, and then rounding the back, turning, lifting, turning the ribs, reaching under the ribs to the left. And up, a little extension through the upper spine, and then flexion as you round, and reach and turn, and then open, and then round, rotate, reach, the last time, lift, and round. Reach and rotate. Good, and then press into your hand. Come back up to sit. Okay, lean back. Okay, going up and over to the other side again. Just gonna shift to the right. And then, so right hand stays on the floor. And we've done this before, but we're just gonna let that left leg swing forward, past that right thigh, and then swing back. Right, so there's that, as it swings back, you get that nice opening in the front of the hip. The sacrum keeps moving forward to meet, so there's not such an intense back bend. It's more of a hip opener, and then swing and back, and swing and back. And you can move the arms as you wish, making it pretty, making it like a dance. Forward and back, forward and back. One more, forward and back. And then just swing around, lift the knees, shift the body, left hand down, right leg swings forward and back, forward and back. Again, there's that sense of the pelvis staying somewhat neutral, not fixed, but we really want to let the thigh or the front of the hip find some space. And again, maybe moving that right arm, counter, just for some play. Last one. Good. And then let's bring the arms around again. Shift, lift the knees, come back to the first. Okay, left leg swing and back, swing and back. One more, swing and back. So slightly different. I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to let that left leg swing forward, pass the right leg, put the left foot on the floor, press into that right hand, lift the hips and reach that left arm up. And then maybe, again, just a little back bend in the upper back. And then hips down as I round the upper back, swing that left leg around, swing the arms around. Let's go up and over to the other side. Left hand down, right leg swings a couple times, and swing, and swing. Again, making it feel fun or good. And then right leg swings forward, plant the right foot, lift the hips, reach that right arm up, look up, and maybe just reach that right arm back, turn towards the ceiling. And then round the back, bring that right arm down, set the hips down, swing that leg back. Let's do the other side one more time. Knees up and over, right hand down, left leg swings and back, swings and back, arm countering. Good. This time as you swing, plant the foot, plant the right hand, reach up, look up, rounding, come down, reach that left hand towards the right hand, let the ribs round, maybe even put the hand on the floor and feel that back body open. And then reach that left arm up again, arch back, and then round, sink the hips down, swing the left leg back, reach the arms forward and around to the other side. Left hand down, right leg swings forward and back, forward and back. Arm moves with. Good. And then right leg comes forward, step on it. Lift the hips, reach up, look up. Good. Round the back. Bring the right hand to the floor. Press both hands into the floor. Lift the back ribs round. And then reach that right arm back up again. Opening the chest, looking up, turning up. And then let everything come down as you round. And let's just come back to center. Oh, just a little full body warm up for a moment. Okay, so feet together, knees apart, Baddha Konasana. I'm just going to take my hands to my ankles. And the hips can be further back, right? You just want to feel where you can, again, take breastbone forward. And I'm going to initiate from my rib cage. So breastbone forward, shoulder blades back. Shoulder blades wide, rib cage back. And forward. Again, initiating from the rib cage and shoulder blades. Just like we would do in a cat cow on the floor when we say or start from different segments. Notice what happens with the head. Notice what happens in the pelvis. And then shift your focus, right? So initiating from the pelvis, so tucking the tailbone forward. And then rolling, sitting bones pull back. So now pubis tips down. And then switch. And then switch. Initiating from the pelvis now. Notice how the spine, the rib cage, the neck, the head respond. Okay, last one. This one I find hard is initiating from the head. The head always wants to lead or resist. So letting the head lead and the spine follow. I always get to see when I lead with the head how the head does not always relate to the rest of the body. Even if I initiate from the pelvis, it's not so obvious until I lead from the head. Good. Okay, so one last thing to quickly get up. So Upavista Konasana, so stretching your legs wide. Oh. Okay, and I'm going to start with my hands behind me, and I'm going to internally rotate that left leg. So I'm going to end up turning towards the right leg. Right leg's going to externally rotate, left leg's going to internally rotate. And center. And then switch. Right leg internally rotates, left leg externally rotates. And center. And then maybe bring the arms up and try it without the arms behind. Okay, initiating from the legs. You can point, see if that helps, or you can flex and see if that helps. Good, and just back and forth, just feeling the possibility of movement and the relational movement between the legs. Good, and then come back to center. Let's take right hand to the floor, left arm up and over. Little side bend to the right, but opening those left side ribs, and then up and over to the other side. Left hand down, right arm up. Again, those left ribs just tipping towards the left side of the pelvis, just to let those right ribs fan open and letting your breath help find that. Find that movement. And up and over. And up and over. Good, one more time. Up and over. You can reach that left arm towards the foot, or bring the hand around the head and hold that right ear and reach the left elbow up to the ceiling and towards the right foot. And then reverse, left hand down, right arm up and over, either towards the foot or wrap the arm around the head and direct the elbow up and over. And back up to center. Good with the knees. Okay, so let's come on to hands and knees. You can have blocks handy if you think that you might need them for lunging. Okay, so let's just push up and back to downward facing dog. Then right foot to the outside of the right hand. Let the hips sink towards the floor. And let the sitting bones pull forward as you reach that left heel back. And then I'm just going to shift forward towards the tippy toe of that left foot. And then pull back. And then shift forward towards the tippy toe. And pull back. One more time, forward and pull back. Hips up, downward dog. Left foot forward. Outside of the left hand, lower the hips down. But again, letting the hips lower as the back leg stays straight. And then shift forward and feel the weight shift to the finger pads in the hands. And then shift back. And shift forward. And back. And forward. And back. Hips up. Downward facing dog. Good, one more time. Right foot outside of the hand. This time I'm going to bring the back knee down. And this is where you can come on blocks or up on fingertips. So I'm going to let my weight shift forward and shift back. And as I shift back, keeping the sole of the foot on the floor, let the right leg straighten. And keep moving the hips back. So I'm rounding in the spine, but it's a long round. And then bend, shift the hips forward. And as I shift the hips forward, I'm going to try to shift so far forward that I can pick the back foot up and draw the heel towards the butt, just a thought. And down and shift back, straightening the right leg or moving towards straight. And shift forward, keep shifting almost above the kneecap so I can pick that left foot up towards the buttocks. And then straighten. Right leg straightens, right leg bends, left leg bends, left leg straightens. Lift the back knee off the floor, downward dog. Left foot forward, outside of the left hand, back knee down. Good, hips shift forward to start. Again, sitting bones move forward, back of the pelvis moves forward. And then pull, press the hands down, pull the hips back. Again, long round through the spine. Maybe that left leg straightens, maybe it doesn't yet. And bend, sending the hips forward. If you can shift forward on that right knee above the kneecap, lift the foot, draw the heel towards the buttocks. And then straighten, left leg straightens. And bend. Shift forward, right leg bends, and shift back, left leg straightens. One more time, shift forward, right leg bends. Again, the sacrum is moving forward, sitting bones move forward, so it's more of a hip extension or opening in the front of the thigh than the lower back. Good. Extend the right leg, lift the back thigh, hips up. Downward dog. Good, knees to the floor. And I'm just going to shift. So my hands pull down and back as my pelvis pulls forward. Again, so I'm trying to initiate from the base of the pelvis. Right, sitting bones almost sit into the backs of the thighs. The elbows bend just a little bit and let the spine move forward and up. And I'm strongly pressing into the hands to lift. And then shift back. Knees are still on the floor. And shift forward again. And sending sitting bones forward. Even tailbone forward towards the pubis. The pubis starts to lift up towards the breastbone. The eyes lift. Maybe the knees come off the floor. Maybe. And then hips up and back. Everybody downward dog. Good. One more time. Right foot outside the hands. Back knee to the floor. Again, this is a good place to use blocks if your wrists are getting tired. Okay, so shifting forward above the kneecap, picking up that left knee. And with that, I'm going to reach that right arm forward and up to the ceiling and around and back, reaching for that left foot. Not grabbing, just reaching for it. Foot towards the buttocks, hand towards the foot. And then reverse. Right hand down. Keep that left foot up. And let's take that left arm, reach it forward and up and back. And reach for the left foot for the hand. And then reverse. Both hands down. Extend that back leg. Lift the hips. Downward dog. Left foot forward. Back knee down. Reach that left arm forward. So again, I want to shift far enough forward. I'm above that right kneecap. Bend the right knee. Lift up. Reach that left arm back towards the right foot. Past the foot as the foot comes to the hand. Lift. Lower the left hand. Keep that right foot where it is. Right arm reaches forward. And up. We're trying to find a lot of movement here. Up. Hip, keep moving forward. Reach that right arm back towards the foot, foot towards the butt. And then reach up. Hand down. Lift the back knee. Step back. Downward dog. Okay, shifting towards a plank pose, but lifting. So coming through a rounded shape. So I'm lifting the upper back, middle back, even rounding in the lower back. Shifting weight into my hand. Sitting bones come forward. Arms bend. Sitting bones come forward. Elbows back, shoulders back, breastbone up, pubis up, and then hips up and back. Downward dog. Okay, last play, right foot outside of the hand. Good, back knee to the floor. So actually, let's just grab blocks just to change in weight distribution, right? Lifting the hands up just shifts more weight into the legs. That gives a little more control, especially as we get tired. Okay, so I'm gonna straighten that right leg. And I'm gonna bend. This time I'm gonna lift the back knee, left knee up, and I'm gonna straighten the right leg again. So now I'm in a Parsvo Tanasana shape. One more time, bend. And straighten. And then this time, I'm just gonna slide that right foot forward as much as it will easily go. And then pull the hips up, pull the feet towards each other, slide the foot back, downward dog. Left foot outside the hands. Lower the hips. Back knee down for a moment. Straighten the front leg. Long through the spine. Long through the waist. Bend the front knee again. Lift the back knee. This time let's straighten the front leg. Hips up and back. Good, back knee stays lifted. Bend the front knee, lunge. And again, straighten the left leg, lift the hips up. Good, so pressing into the blocks with the hands so that as you slide that left leg, the arms are helping negotiate the weight. Good, sliding that left leg forward, as far forward as it feels comfortable, and then pulling the feet towards each other to come back. One more time, lift, upper back, middle back, lower back, rolling forward to an upward facing dog. But letting the sitting bones curl forward, tailbone curl forward, pubis lifts. Right, letting the tailbone drop and then curl forward. Pubis lifts, so there's a little sense of engagement in front body, lengthen back body. Downward dog. Good, knees to the floor. And sit back on your heels. I know that was a lot. Good, reach the arms forward. I know the sun is getting a little intense. Good, reaching fingers forward, curl the fingers in towards the base of the finger. Make a little fist, pull the fist down. A little side to side movement with the fists. Stretch the fingers down, wiggle the fingers. Scoop the fingers forward and up. Wiggle the fingers, a little side to side. Curl again in. Fist, keep the fists up and move them side to side. And then extend the fingers back up and wave. And then shake it out. Okay. All right. Let us see. Next part. Okay. So next part, I'm just going to shift. So I'm going to keep one block towards the back of my mat. I'm going to step the right foot forward. Good. And then just come up into a little bit of a kneeling. So I can keep, I'm going to put my block next to my left foot. My left knee can be a little more under my hip than further back. I'm just going to let my weight shift forward. There's a little bit of a jousting lunge on this side. The heel sinking towards the floor, so I'm getting a little into that calf, which is really good. And back. And shift forward. And back. And then I'm going to bring my block just to the inside of the left foot. So my left leg's back, so I want to take my right arm back. And again, I'm working a little bit more on the hip extension first, and then the spinal extension, but hip extension first. So again, one more time, shift forward. Feel that, again, as the sitting bones move forward, there's that opening in the front of the left hip. And then I'm going to shift it quite a bit. So I'm going to reach that right arm up and back to the block, and then let the hips come forward again. Then focus is on the front of the left hip. Sitting bones move forward. Front ribs maybe stay a little contained, and shift back. And then right arm back, left arm up, shift forward. And shift back. One more time, shift back. Reach up, lift up. This time look up, take that left arm back. So let it now travel up through the whole spine. And then back. One more like that. Right arm back, left arm up, arcing back. And then come forward. And let's switch sides. So right knee comes back, sit for a moment. I have my block. So as I come up onto my knees, shift my left foot forward and just stick the block inside of the right foot. Okay, shifting forward. Again, opening front of the right hip. Again, sinking forward. That left heel stays down, getting a little in that left calf, feels good. And shift back. And shift forward. And back. And fencing pose. And back. Back when we used to fence. Okay, so this time I'm gonna take, so left hand comes to the block. It's much smaller forward movement. Left hand to the block, right arm up. But the thought is still there. Right thigh moves forward, tailbone forward, sitting bones forward, and then back. And again, left hand to the block. So the front ribs are dropped. There's a little less spinal extension to start. A little more hip extension. And come up. And then let it come into the spine, right? Let the hip move forward. And then let the chest lift and that right arm come back. And then come out. One more time. And come up. And both knees sit back. Yay. Okay. Downward dog. Walk the feet forward. Bend your knees, let your ribs rest on your thighs. And round up to stand. Simplify it just a little bit. So my left leg is going to turn out a little. Right, so both feet are turned out slightly just to help me balance. Arms out for balance. Left knee can bend a little, right leg is going to swing forward. And that as the right leg swings forward, that left arm is going to swing forward. So there's a little bit of a contralateral movement. And then back and forward and back. And again, left arm swings back. So that same contralateral movement, the right buttocks to the left, kind of back diagonal line to that right hip. And then forward, front right hip to left, kind of diagonal tissue. And back and forward. And let's switch. And again, these are muscles that we use for walking, right? This sheath, these muscles, the external obliques of one side, internal obliques, plus the inner thigh. Other side, left leg swings back and forward and back and forward and back. Use it for running, for tennis, back, forward, back, right arm. Again, right arm, left leg, forward, and then right arm, left leg behind. Swing and back, swing and back. And then come to center. Okay, same thing, we're just gonna add one element. Okay, so, and again, take it as much as you can take it, right? So let's do, so left arm swings back, right leg swings back and forward, and maybe just pick up that right leg and then back and forward. And again, just pick it up and back. You want to still have control through the left leg, because next time we're just going to try to grab the foot, pause for a moment, and then swing back. Do it again. Kick. Oops. So I'd have to have the foot turned out. Okay. Swing back, swing forward, up, pause, breathe. Last time, back, forward, kick, lift, pause, breathe, center. And again, you may not hold, it might just be little swings and a pause in the air. Okay. So, left leg back, right arm back and forward. Then I'm going to turn my foot out for balance. Back and forward. And a little just lift and feel. And a little lift and feel. Maybe a hold. Last time. And release. And just stand and feel, notice. Right, just that, again, organization of the front and back body, and maybe feeling a little more support. So whether it's on the highest height or not, or the middle height, right? So it's skinny. I'm gonna tip it. So walk the feet close to the body. You can watch this first one if you want. Heels are off the floor. I'm just gonna pull my knees towards my toes, right? Which pulls the femurs away from the pelvis, which posteriorly tilts the pelvis. Press into the balls of the feet. Lift the thighs up. So if you can go on the highest block, highest length of the block, tip the block towards you or towards the face. So one edge of the block is off the floor and it's at an angle, meaning the side of the body close to your lower back is tipped towards the floor and the side of the block towards the tailbone is up. And again, if this block on high is too high, put it on the middle height, again tipped. So the tailbone side is elevated and the lower back side is descending. And just pause here. Take a couple breaths. You can let your heels sink towards the floor for a moment. Again, just feeling that opening in the front of the hip. A little bit of quietness in the, or ideally you want to let the belly stay quiet. And what that means is that the erectors, the tissues on either side of your spine aren't quite activated yet, right? That in back bends, we really want to get the legs and the butt to initiate first. Walk the feet closer to you. Come up onto the balls of the feet. Heels are lifted. So you can stay here, or you can bring your hands by your ears. Good. Fingers turn slightly out to the side just so the elbows stay more in, right? Rather than the elbows popping out to the side. And again, just play with the feet in. Same feeling. I'm going to send the knees towards the toes, past the toes. And even as I put a little weight in my hands, I'm going to let my body shift towards my feet, lift my hips up, and then straighten the arms. And then slowly come back down. Maybe onto the block, maybe not. Good, and then lift the heels, come onto the balls of the feet. Lift the sacrum, slide the block out, slowly, slowly. Roll down. Okay, roll to your side and come up. Okay, simple. So Bharadvajasana on one side, right? So I'm just going to let both feet tip off to the left side. Left hand on that outer right thigh, just lifting and turning. Left hip can get heavy. And come back to center. And I'm just going to shift the legs to the other side. Feet off to the right. Right hand on the outside of that left leg. Lift and turn. And again, the right hip might follow. You can let it. And then maybe just let it slowly. Let that right hip slowly drop back down. Right, as if both hips could hang down off the shoulders. And then come back to center. Okay, one more variation of the back bend using the wall. So I'm still going to use that same setup where I shift my weight to my legs, let my legs lift me, right? Because we just prepped the legs for it. But I'm going to elevate my hands again so I can shift my focus to my legs. So blocks are near the wall, wide enough so I can maybe get my head between the blocks, but they're stable against the blocks. Against the wall. So if I push into the blocks, they are supported. Okay, and then I'm gonna lay you down with my head between the blocks, not all the way to the wall, just close enough to the hands. And then hands are on the block. So I'm gonna turn my hands so the fingers are facing the shoulders or towards the foot side of the mat. Again, walk the feet a little close to the body. And again, that depends on your body. So you have to play with what feels right. How do you get your feet under you? How do you really get your feet under your pelvis so you can push your pelvis up? All right, feet a little closer, heels are up. I'm on the balls of my feet. And again, I'm going to start to pull the knees towards the toes, which is going to pull the thighs off the floor, which is going to pull the pelvis into a little posterior tilt. Then put a little weight in the hands, keep shifting the weight to the feet, and then lift the hips up, then straighten the arms. And then slowly lower down. Pause. Oh. Again, looking for more focus from the backs of the legs, the buttocks, then the lower back, right? So ideally, if your lower back is cranky, but your legs aren't tired, or if the back of your pelvis isn't tired, there's an indication that the hips could work a little harder, the back of the pelvis, the glutes. Let's try one more time. Again, you don't have to come all the way up. Maybe just mark it out, feel it, listen to what's working, what isn't working. Experiment, explore. Good, walk your feet in. Heels up on the balls of the feet. Shift the weight towards the toes, knees to the toes. Pull the thighs up. Pull the buttocks up. Put some weight in the hands. Shift the weight to the legs. Hips up. Good, maybe drop the heels. Then lift the heels to come down. Slowly roll the spine down. Good, roll to your side when you're ready. Then come up to sit. Again, feet off to the left. Again, a little Bharadvajasana, nice and gentle and slow. Right, lifting and turning to the right. The left hip may follow if that feels good. Allow it. If you want it to hang back, if that creates more length, then do that. And then everybody let that left hip get heavy. Good, maybe even just look up for a brief moment and down. Untwist. Other side. Again, lifting and turning if that right hip following feels good. Breathe with that. And then let the right hip hang back. Let it sink. Let it settle. Let it hang. And then again, lift, look up. Lift the side body, the chest, the neck, face. And down. Let's take one block between thighs. Just the narrowest way. Arms out to the side. Just a gentle hug of the block with the thighs. Right and left side initiating, and then relax that effort. Let the pelvis drop back. The lower back muscles get soft and the belly gets soft. Inner thighs get soft. One more time, just a gentle, gentle hug. This time I'm going to peel the heels off the floor. Again, keep hugging the block, lift the thighs up towards the chest and the knees up and over to the right. Good, letting that outer right leg come to the floor. Right hand can rest on that outer left leg, just so the legs can settle. Relaxing the throat. Very slow, slow motion. Let's turn the head to the left, super slow. And then slowly roll the head back to center. And then again, gentle hug of the block, bring the knees back up. Let's go to the other side. So slowly enough, listen. Notice when the breathing is suspended or changes. Notice the neck and the throat and the jaw. Notice the hands, the feet. And again, just letting that head slowly roll. Very slow. And if you tend to be fast moving, move even slower. And then slowly bring that head back to center. And just gently hug the block, bring the block back up to center. And feet touch the floor. Heels down. Pelvis heavy, lower back settled or settling. Great. So I'm just going to roll to my side, come up to sit. Grab my two blocks. So I'm going to put them on the highest height and I'm going to turn them at an angle so that when my legs are on them, my feet can be apart. So they're right at a slight, instead of being straight, they're at a slight angle. Following the direction of the knees. Then I'll take my blanket and roll it up so that it's long enough to cover the two blocks and thick enough to give me a little support under the backs of the knees. And then my knees lay on the little mountains And then lay down, right? Maybe even coming onto the forearms. So I can lay the spine down, letting the ribs slide away from the sacrum as I lay the ribs down. And then letting the front body sink back into the back body. If it's cold where you are, put something over you as well. If you have it, even just covering your pelvic organs, abdominal organs helps keep your body heat in. Palms up or palms down. Just bringing your awareness to your right leg. Just walking your awareness up the leg, from the toes through the sole of the foot, top of the foot, ankle, the entire lower leg, back, sides, front, the back of the knee, sides of the knee, the front of the knee, the back of the right thigh, the inner thigh, outer thigh, top of the thigh, up into the hip. Even that whole right hip, the outer hip, the buttocks, the back of the hip. Growing. Again, noticing just by bringing attention to it, does it organize itself in a different way? Or maybe just give it permission to really rest. Left leg, toes, top of foot, bottom, ankle, lower leg, the back, sides, front. The knee, the back, the sides, the top. The thigh, back, inner thigh, top of thigh, outer thigh. And follow up into the hip, front of hip, outer hip, back of hip, groin, pelvic floor, genitals, anus, buttocks, belly. Just walking through right arm, fingers, hands, hand, palm, back of hand, wrist, the forearm, the inner and outer forearm, the elbow, the deep fold of the elbow and the point, the outer point, that inner arm, outer arm, up into the shoulder, front of shoulder, back of shoulder, top of shoulder, into the neck and the under shoulder. And left fingers, palm of hand, back of hand, wrist, that inner forearm, outer forearm. Elbow, the inner deep fold of the elbow, and the outer pointy knobby elbow, the inner arm and the outer arm. Shoulder back, top of shoulder up into the neck, front of shoulder into the chest, under shoulder, armpit. Feeling the shoulder blades, the ribs, chest, the belly, the back. Just noticing the neck and throat, the jaw, tongue, the inner space of the mouth and the lips. cavernous quality of the mouth, cheeks, the spaciousness, cheeks, nasal passages, nostrils, the brow, the eyes. Slowing down in the eyes. And then a slowing down, or almost imagining your mind just almost bathed in a golden matrix. Like allowing some organization and some ease, some grace, some softness. As if connecting to a clear mind. Or a higher mind. Say God's mind, but God meaning a universal consciousness. Maybe just that sense of your heart and just a golden light just bathing your heart. And all that that means to you. But a softening, an opening, sense of compassion for yourself and others. And some movement through your fingers, through your toes, and your arms and legs, rolling onto your side. And up to sit, and sometimes keeping the eyes closed. Or if the eyes pop open, finding a single point of focus. If the eyes tend to draw us out into the world. And sometimes taking that time to really honor the wisdom that is inside